All right, everyone. Now we have to talk about Biden's looming bribery scandal. Yes, an international bribery scandal is beginning to become a little bit more real than the original story. The original story was basically, hey, some unnamed source in the FBI is telling members of Congress, hey, there's a problem here. There's a document at the FBI that would show you that the FBI was looking into a bribery scandal, an illegal pay-to-play sort of thing involving Biden directly. So this isn't Hunter's business dealings. This is explicitly Joe Biden and people associated with him. Apparently, part of it involves a Romanian business transaction that they can prove actually occurred to the tune of some millions of dollars. Biden was getting money from an international source, and the idea is that ties into it. Now the FBI is allegedly, and I say allegedly because this was a closed-door meeting, so they haven't commented on it yet. We'll see whether they confirm or deny that or just ignore the issue entirely. Allegedly, the FBI is afraid that this informant will get killed if they're unmasked. So it could be a ploy by the FBI, like, don't look any further into this. You don't want to get someone killed now, do you? This might actually work as a tactic against the GOP because they're so fickle and so cowardly. So we'll see if they even pursue it. By the way, it was Representative Luna coming out and saying this. Now, the alleged material, I believe, has been, certain members of Congress will be granted access to it, according to the FBI. But they don't want to cough up the original document. And again, the reason that we know that the document exists, we're not sure what's in it. We're not sure how damning it is. It could be that an FBI agent simply mused about the possibility that a business transaction could be related to bribery or something like that. Like it was their own personal thoughts and it's literally scribbled on a piece of notepad paper. The FBI could have paperwork like that from a former agent or something, and it's just on file. It doesn't need to be classified. It's just personal notes. But I have a feeling it's more than that, and I'll tell you why. And this also confirms that a document of some sort does exist. The FBI, in its bants back and forth with House Oversight and House Intel and so forth, with the Republicans running some of these committees, have refused over and over to divulge the document. However, they were willing to grant access to a private viewing to certain members of Congress. You can't view something if it doesn't exist, now can you? What I think the FBI is trying to do is shield Biden by making sure that it takes as long and it's as difficult to process as possible, and maybe one that in the end fails, to actually even enter any meaningful evidence into public record. So the public will be told, hey, by a bunch of Republicans, keep in mind how the public views the situation. Republican goes, Comer goes, Raskin goes. I mean, not Raskin, Comer, whoever. Rand Paul goes in, Luna goes in. They read the document, and then they come out and they summarize it to the American people. Now, the American people have not seen the document, and they say, well, it is awfully damning. Yeah, it insinuates that there was indeed a business deal involving Biden being bribed. Okay, I accept it. I'm perfectly aware of the likelihood of that, although the likelihood of having evidence on hand is actually quite spectacular. The Biden crime family is very notoriously good at covering its tracks, except when it's leaving electronics behind because someone was smoking too much crack that day and forgot all about it, left it there with incriminating material, both for him and Daddy at the computer store. Other than that, you know, generally as a rule, they do a good job. Not as good as the Clintons, but, yeah, they're up there. Biden doesn't handle it himself. That's the smart thing. He has other people handle that sort of bullshit for him because he knows that he can't. He shouldn't have put his faith in Hunter, I suppose. I wonder how early he knew about his crack addiction and philandering and whoring. Anyway, in this particular instance, we know the document exists. That's beyond dispute. We're not sure what's on it. So when you have a partisan, a Republican, come out to the American people and say, you know, here's basic summation of the document, it shows Biden's guilty of something, what will the Democrats do? Oh, this is just bullshit. No, I haven't seen any document. I don't have any evidence at all. Dude, even when you show them objective proof of some of the claims against Biden, like that Biden lied to the American people during the election by saying that he never met any of Hunter's business associates. You can show them pictures of him meeting with these associates in pictures that were on Hunter's laptop, verified by cross emails to addresses that were on his laptop, proving objectively that they came from that source, that they're from Hunter himself, they're not photoshopped, They're not edited. They're not even cropped. These are original files. We know that. You can show them objective proof of that, and they say, oh, well, whatever. The cognitive dissonance kicks in. They say, well, there's no big deal. Who cares who we met with, or something like that. Imagine you can't even show them a document. You don't have anything. You've got a claim from a partisan member of Congress that's not going to be considered a serious source by any Democratic voter. Maybe some independent voters and Republicans will just accept it on its token and say, oh, we knew that Biden was guilty and nothing will be done. And they'll be right when they surmise that. You need more than just a private viewing. They need to force the FBI to cough up the document. It's ignoring a congressional subpoena on a piece of paper that's not even classified. Why on earth would they go to such lengths to do that unless it were highly incriminating? I can put two and two together, but until you actually have it, scan it, and put it out before the American people, there's nothing wrong with it if it's not classified, right? Don't expect half of the voting base to care. It's not a major scandal unless you actually have something that shows that there's been a scandal. And then, even if it's highly insinuative, it doesn't necessarily mean the FBI followed up with an investigation. They can always come and say, well, we don't have any evidence, or we investigated topically and found nothing. Well, that would screw the Republicans a line now, wouldn't it? Now they would then counter by saying, of course, the FBI is covering for Biden. And again, half the voting base will assume they're telling the truth, and the other half will assume that they're fucking lying. And they're Republicans, so they're not going to hardball the FBI after that. They'll take the L, actually, at that point. I will understand, as I have for years, that Biden is a crook. Yes, he was engaged in both dubious and illegal business dealings, some of which went through his son, some of which may not have. You know, Burisma, ring a bell? You know, that just because other people have forgotten about the existence of that company doesn't mean that people like myself have. But you gotta understand, other than a bunch of partisans and people who really dig into and analyze these sorts of things, like I choose to do, because it's sort of part of my living, most other people, they either don't care about the issue or they don't believe it. They'll shoot the messenger because it's coming from the House Republicans. Well, there's claiming the document exists. Good luck even convincing half of them that there is such a document because the FBI is stonewalling. Even though the FBI's own actions have effectively de facto proven its existence because you can't withhold the document or grant special access to it to members of Congress if there's no document. It has to physically exist, but the public just doesn't know what's on it. We're going to get at some point a little bit of a tittle from Comer and a few others who will be allowed to view it, as though the FBI needs to have a sealed off, like, secured room with no electronics allowed and shit like that to view an unclassified document. Well, that's interesting. It must have the agent's name on it, which is apparently the FBI is worried that they'll die. I think that that's a goddamn ploy. I think the FBI is doing that in order to justify to people why an unclassified document, which could just be redacted of the name of the agent if that's the reason why, by the way, a redacted copy. Hey, we took the field agent's name off that wrote the document. Here, you can view it. Problem solved, right? Wouldn't that be a little bit better? Or hell, if you redact the name and it's not classified, why not just release it to the public? If Biden is so squeaky clean. But I don't see the Republicans even making that argument. Why are they they're falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Luna and Comer and all the others appear to take this seriously. It's, yes, it's absolutely damning. It's absolutely worrisome that, okay, your agent is in fear of their life. I can understand why members of Congress would look askance to unmasking them. But there are other ways that you can get the material that's actually pertinent without unmasking the person. It happens all the time. Redactions happen on government documents, top and bottom, constantly. Ask him for a redacted copy. Problem, so why isn't Comer asking for this? I don't even understand. This is the FBI's latest cope line, and they are doing it to defend Joe Biden. That's about all. Peace out.